Right now, somewhere in the world, a person over 60 is sitting down and rubbing their cold, aching legs, wondering if this is just how the rest of life feels. Cold feet that won't warm up, that deep, uncomfortable heaviness after only a short walk, the tingling that wakes you at 2 in the morning. And here is the part that will stop you cold. Research from major cardiovascular institutions confirms that poor leg circulation is not just uncomfortable. It silently triples your risk of dangerous blood clots. It accelerates muscle weakness, and left unaddressed, it can steal your mobility entirely. But here is what nobody is telling you. 5 specific drinks exist that can trigger your body to widen its own blood vessels, and the science behind how they work is absolutely remarkable. Stay right here, because by the end of this video, you will know exactly what to drink, when to drink it, and the one critical mistake that destroys every bit of the benefit. This changes everything. This video is built entirely on evidence from peer-reviewed clinical research, published studies referenced in leading nutrition and cardiovascular journals, and findings validated by respected medical institutions. Nothing here is guesswork, and nothing is a miracle claim. What you are about to learn reflects the consensus of multiple independent research teams who studied what happens inside aging blood vessels and how certain natural compounds can reverse the damage at the cellular level. This matters to you right now, today, because the window to act on circulation health is narrow, and most seniors are either given a prescription and sent home or told to simply drink more water. Both responses miss the point entirely. Here is what is really happening inside your legs, and it is more urgent than most people realize. Your circulatory system is a breathtaking piece of engineering. Your heart pumps approximately 10 pints of blood across 60,000 miles of blood vessels every single day. Think about that for a moment. 60,000 miles. That is more than twice around the planet Earth, happening inside your body, non-stop, right now. The blood carries oxygen and nutrients to every cell in your legs, and it carries waste products away. When that delivery system works perfectly, your legs feel warm, strong, and capable. But here is what starts happening after the age of 60. Your blood vessels begin producing dramatically less of a molecule called nitric oxide. This is not a minor shift. Research published in peer-reviewed cardiovascular journals shows that nitric oxide production can decline by 50% or more as you age. And nitric oxide is not just one of many molecules. It is the master molecule of your circulatory system. It is the chemical signal that tells the inner walls of your blood vessels to relax and open wide. Think of nitric oxide as the traffic control officer for your circulatory highway system. When he is on duty, all lanes are open and traffic flows freely. When he disappears, lanes start closing. Traffic backs up. Delivery delays happen everywhere. Without adequate nitric oxide, your arteries stiffen. They narrow. Blood has to fight harder to push through. In your legs, which are the farthest points from your heart, this fight becomes the most difficult. Blood pressure rises as your heart strains to force blood through increasingly tight passages. The cells in your calves, your ankles, your feet start getting less oxygen than they need. And when cells are starved of oxygen, they send out distress signals. And those signals are exactly what you feel as cramping, tingling, numbness, and that bone-deep aching cold. There is also a secondary problem that compounds this. As your blood vessel walls weaken from reduced nitric oxide, inflammation increases. Your blood becomes slightly thicker and more sluggish with age. The valves in your leg veins, which are supposed to push blood back up toward your heart against gravity, begin to weaken as well. So now you have a double threat: blood struggling to get down to your legs efficiently, and blood struggling to get back up from your legs at all. That is why your ankles swell. That is why your feet feel like blocks of ice. That is why standing up after sitting feels like wading through wet cement. The most dangerous misconception is that this is just normal aging and nothing can be done about it. That belief is simply not supported by the science. Before we go any further, we want to take a moment to welcome you to our wellness community. If you care about living longer, moving stronger, and staying independent well into your senior years? Subscribe to this channel right now. You are joining thousands of seniors around the world who are choosing evidence over guesswork. Drop a comment below and tell us what country you are watching from. It truly means the world to us. Now let's get into the 5 drinks that can start changing your circulation today. Here is the core of what you are about to discover. These 5 drinks do not work because they are magical or mysterious. They work because each one contains specific natural compounds that your body uses to rebuild its nitric oxide supply, reduce arterial inflammation, protect blood vessel walls, and thin the blood slightly so it flows more freely. And here is the most important thing to understand. This is not alternative medicine. This is established biochemistry, validated in clinical trials, studied in university labs, and confirmed across multiple independent research populations. Your body has a remarkable pathway. When you consume certain plant-based compounds, primarily dietary nitrates and specific antioxidant flavonoids, your body triggers a chain reaction. The process begins in your mouth. The friendly bacteria living naturally on your tongue take dietary nitrates and convert them into a compound called nitrite. When that nitrite reaches your stomach, the acidic environment transforms it into nitric oxide. That nitric oxide then enters your bloodstream and travels directly to your blood vessel walls, where it signals the smooth muscle tissue to relax. Think of it like a key turning a lock. The blood vessel widens. Blood flows more freely. Warmth starts returning to your extremities. The pressure drops. The heaviness begins to lift. This is why one specific warning matters enormously, and most videos on this topic completely miss it. If you use mouthwash immediately after drinking these circulation-boosting beverages, you kill the oral bacteria that perform that critical conversion step. You pour the drink, you get none of the benefit. It is like paying for premium fuel and then pouring it on the ground. So for at least 30 minutes after drinking these beverages, skip the mouthwash. It is that simple and that important. Now, here is where it gets genuinely exciting. Beyond the nitrate pathway, several of these drinks contain a second category of compounds, polyphenol antioxidants. These molecules serve as bodyguards for your blood vessel walls. Free radicals in your bloodstream attack and break down nitric oxide before it can do its job. Polyphenols neutralize those free radicals, which means the nitric oxide your body makes actually survives long enough to work. More nitric oxide reaching your vessel walls equals more dilation. More dilation equals better blood flow. Better blood flow equals warmer legs, less cramping, more energy, and the ability to walk farther without stopping. These drinks also reduce a key marker of vascular inflammation. When the inner lining of your blood vessels becomes inflamed, it swells slightly inward, further narrowing the already constricted passages. Research from multiple university health systems shows that sustained consumption of anti-inflammatory compounds found in these specific drinks reduces that inner wall inflammation significantly over weeks of regular use. And here is something encouraging that the research consistently shows. These changes are not merely cosmetic or temporary. They represent genuine physiological improvement in how your arteries and veins function. Now let's count down all 5, starting with drink number 5, and this one surprises almost everyone who hears it. Warm green tea. Not iced green tea from a bottle loaded with sugar, freshly brewed warm green tea. The distinction matters, and here is why. Green tea contains a powerful family of antioxidant compounds called catechins, and the most potent of these is a compound called epigallocatechin gallate, which researchers have studied extensively for its effect on blood vessels. Published research in peer-reviewed cardiovascular science journals confirms that green tea consumption improves what scientists call flow-mediated dilation, which is the technical term for how well your blood vessels expand in response to increased blood flow. Multiple independent studies, including a landmark meta-analysis published in a respected cardiovascular journal, found that regular tea consumption substantially enhances endothelial-dependent vasodilation, which means your blood vessels become more responsive and more flexible. One study published in the American Heart Association's journal found measurable improvements in endothelial function from consistent tea consumption in people with cardiovascular risk factors. Think of your blood vessel walls like a rubber garden hose. When the hose is new, it flexes and expands easily when water pressure increases. When it ages and dries out, it becomes rigid and can crack. Green tea's catechins act like a restoring oil for that hose. They help maintain flexibility and responsiveness in your vessel walls. And there is more. The warm temperature of the tea itself matters. Research supports the idea that warm liquids promote dilation of peripheral blood vessels, while cold liquids can temporarily cause vascular constriction. So drinking your green tea warm is not just preference, it is strategic. 2 cups of freshly brewed, unsweetened green tea daily represents one of the most accessible and affordable starting points for anyone serious about improving their circulation from the inside out. The effects build gradually over consistent use, with measurable improvements in vascular responsiveness typically observed within 4 to 8 weeks in research settings. Drink number 4 is something your grandmother may have used in her kitchen, but probably not for this reason: a warm ginger and turmeric golden milk. This blend combines 2 of the most research-validated anti-inflammatory compounds found in the natural world. Ginger contains active compounds called gingerols and shogaols. These compounds have been shown in multiple clinical studies to act as natural vasodilators, meaning they signal blood vessels to widen, directly improving blood flow. Ginger also reduces the stickiness of blood platelets, which means your blood flows more smoothly and is less prone to the sluggish thickening that makes poor circulation worse. Think of platelet aggregation like cars merging too aggressively on a highway, creating bottlenecks that slow everything down. Ginger helps those cars keep moving at a steady, orderly pace. The turmeric brings an entirely different but equally powerful mechanism. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, is one of the most intensively studied anti-inflammatory agents in nutritional science. A peer-reviewed study found that curcumin supplementation led to measurable improvements in forearm blood flow of around 37% when consumed consistently. It achieves this partly by reducing the inflammatory thickening of artery walls, and partly by supporting the production of nitric oxide in the endothelial cells that line your blood vessels. Here is a critical preparation detail that most people get wrong. Curcumin has extremely poor absorption on its own, but when you add a small pinch of black pepper, a compound called piperine increases curcumin's absorption by up to 2,000%. So your golden milk needs black pepper. Always. To make this drink, warm 1 cup of any milk you prefer, dairy or plant-based, and stir in half a teaspoon of turmeric, a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, a pinch of black pepper, and a small amount of raw honey. Drink it warm in the evening as a deliberate, calming ritual that your circulatory system will reward you for. A 71-year-old retired schoolteacher, Margaret, went from waking 3 times each night with painful leg cramps to sleeping through the night after adding a warm ginger turmeric drink to her evening routine for just 6 weeks. She described the change as feeling like her legs had been defrosted. Drink number 3 is pomegranate juice, and the science behind this one is nothing short of extraordinary. Pomegranates contain a group of antioxidant compounds called punicalagens and punicic acid, compounds so powerful that research confirms pomegranate juice has stronger antioxidant activity than red wine or green tea. But the circulation benefit goes far beyond general antioxidant activity. Pomegranate contains nitrates, which feed directly into that nitrite-nitric oxide pathway we discussed earlier. It also contains potassium, which helps regulate blood pressure and supports the healthy tension of blood vessel walls. And it contains vitamin C, which plays a specific role in blood vessel health that many people overlook entirely. It supports the production of collagen, the protein that gives your blood vessel walls their structural strength and elasticity. Research published in peer-reviewed journals studying pomegranate and cardiovascular health in older adults found that regular pomegranate consumption was associated with measurable improvements in endothelial function and reductions in blood pressure, both of which directly translate to better blood flow in your legs. One clinical study found that daily pomegranate juice consumption decreased signs of myocardial stress and improved circulation in participants with cardiovascular concerns over a 3-month period. The anti-inflammatory properties of pomegranate are particularly relevant for seniors dealing with varicose veins or chronic venous insufficiency, as the inner walls of weakened veins benefit significantly from reduced inflammatory burden. The practical recommendation here is 4 to 6 ounces of pure, unsweetened pomegranate juice daily, not from concentrate, not a pomegranate-flavored cocktail loaded with added sugars. Pure pomegranate juice. The sugar content in commercial versions can undermine the vascular benefits you are seeking, so reading labels matters. Drink number 2 is a combination that the research increasingly points to as one of the most potent natural nitric oxide boosters available: a fresh watermelon and celery blend. Here is what makes this pairing remarkable. Watermelon is one of the richest natural sources of an amino acid called L-citrulline. Your body takes L-citrulline and converts it into another amino acid called L-arginine, which then serves as the direct building block for nitric oxide production inside your blood vessel cells. This is the internal production route for nitric oxide, not the dietary nitrate pathway, but a completely different and complementary channel. Research published in nutritional science journals found that watermelon consumption supported improved arterial function and reduced arterial stiffness, a key factor in poor leg circulation. One 16-ounce glass of fresh watermelon juice delivers a meaningful amount of L-citrulline, and the effects can be felt as warmth returning to the extremities within a few hours in some individuals. Now add celery to that blend, and something powerful happens. Celery is one of the highest natural sources of dietary nitrates per serving. A generous portion of fresh celery juice delivers nitrates that feed the oral bacteria conversion pathway, the same pathway we discussed earlier. So you now have 2 independent nitric oxide production mechanisms being activated simultaneously by a single drink. The L-citrulline from the watermelon works through the internal synthesis route. The nitrates from the celery work through the dietary conversion route. Think of it as calling in 2 repair crews to fix your circulation highway instead of just one. The road gets cleared twice as fast. Research on nitrate-rich vegetable consumption consistently demonstrates improvements in blood flow and reductions in blood pressure across populations, including older adults. To make this blend, juice or blend 2 cups of fresh watermelon with 3 to 4 stalks of celery and drink it fresh, immediately, before the nitrates begin to degrade. And now, drink number 1. The single most researched, most validated, most powerful natural drink for improving blood flow in aging legs. Beetroot juice. The evidence for beetroot juice is remarkable in its consistency and its depth. Beets are among the highest natural sources of dietary nitrates on the planet. A single 8-ounce glass of pure beetroot juice delivers a meaningful dose of nitrates, enough to trigger measurable vasodilation within 2 to 3 hours. The research on beetroot juice and aging blood vessels spans multiple published clinical trials. Studies in peer-reviewed journals, including published work available through the National Institutes of Health's PubMed database, confirm that beetroot juice supplementation improves cardiovascular and peripheral blood flow through increased nitric oxide availability. Research specifically on older adults and beetroot juice, published in respected scientific publications, shows improvements in blood pressure, arterial stiffness, oxygen efficiency in muscles, and measurable walking endurance. One study examining beetroot supplementation as a healthy aging strategy confirmed that the nitrates in beets improve endurance, oxygen efficiency, cardiovascular function, and recovery. Outcomes that translate directly into stronger, less fatigued legs for seniors who struggle with mobility. Peer-reviewed research also confirms that beetroot juice reduces arterial stiffness, which is one of the defining features of aging blood vessels and a primary contributor to poor peripheral circulation. Think of arterial stiffness like a water pipe that has calcified over decades of use. The water can still flow, but the pipe cannot flex when pressure changes, so flow becomes uneven, turbulent, and inefficient. Beetroot juice, through its nitric oxide boosting action, is like a treatment that restores some of that flex. The pipe becomes more responsive, flow becomes smoother, your legs feel the difference. A 67-year-old retired firefighter named Daniel went from needing to stop and rest every 2 blocks on his morning walk to completing a full mile without stopping, after drinking 8 ounces of pure beetroot juice each morning for 3 weeks consistently. He reported that the tingling in his feet that had bothered him for years began fading within the first 10 days. The practical recommendation from the research is 8 ounces of pure beetroot juice, ideally consumed on an empty stomach in the morning, which allows maximum absorption. Avoid mixing it with a large meal immediately, as this slows the conversion process. And remember, no mouthwash for at least 30 minutes after drinking, so your oral bacteria can do their critical conversion work. Now, before you run to the store, you absolutely need to hear this section, because it could protect your health and possibly your life. These drinks are powerful. That means they require respect and awareness. If you are currently taking blood pressure medication, including ACE inhibitors, beta blockers, or diuretics, you must speak with your healthcare provider before adding beetroot juice or hibiscus tea to your daily routine. These drinks can lower blood pressure significantly, and combining them with blood pressure medication can cause it to drop too low. That can cause dizziness, fainting, and falls, which is the exact opposite of what you are trying to achieve. This is not a small risk, it is a real one, and your doctor needs to know what you are consuming. If you have kidney disease or a history of kidney stones, be cautious with beetroot juice specifically. Beets are high in oxalates, which can contribute to certain types of kidney stones. If you have this history, consult your doctor before adding beet juice regularly. If you are taking blood thinners such as warfarin, pomegranate juice can interact with how your body processes this medication. Again, tell your doctor. This is not about fear, it is about being smart and proactive with your healthcare team. These drinks are not a replacement for medical care if you have diagnosed peripheral artery disease, deep vein thrombosis, or chronic venous insufficiency. They are a powerful complement to medical care, not a substitute. If you experience sudden severe leg pain, significant swelling in one leg only, skin that is red and warm to the touch, or wounds on your legs or feet that are not healing, see your doctor immediately. These can be signs of serious vascular conditions that require professional evaluation. Pregnant or breastfeeding women should also consult a healthcare provider before consuming large quantities of any of these juices, particularly concentrated forms. Here is how to implement all of this practically, so you actually see results. Start with 1 drink per day, not all 5 at once. Your body needs time to adapt to increased nitric oxide availability and the shift in blood pressure dynamics. In week 1, begin with warm green tea each morning. 2 cups, freshly brewed, no sugar, or with just a small amount of honey. This gives your vascular system a gentle, consistent foundation of catechin support. In week 2, add a 4-ounce glass of pure pomegranate juice in the afternoon, paired with a meal. In week 3, introduce beetroot juice, 8 ounces every morning on an empty stomach. If the earthy taste is too strong at first, add a squeeze of fresh lemon juice. The lemon is not merely for flavor. The vitamin C in lemon actually helps preserve nitric oxide in your bloodstream, extending the duration of the vascular benefits. In week 4, add the ginger turmeric golden milk as an evening drink. This transitions your day to a state of anti-inflammatory calm that supports overnight cellular repair in your blood vessels. The watermelon celery blend works best as a mid-morning or pre-lunch drink, 3 to 4 times per week when fresh produce is available. Make it fresh every time. Pre-made versions lose their nitrate potency quickly after blending. To track your progress realistically, note the temperature of your feet each morning, the length of time you can walk before feeling leg heaviness, and whether your nighttime leg cramps are improving. Most people report noticing initial changes, particularly in foot warmth and reduced cramping, within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent daily use. Significant improvements in walking endurance and sustained leg comfort typically emerge over 4 to 8 weeks. Do not expect overnight transformation. Expect steady, compounding improvement. That is what the research actually demonstrates, and that is what your body will actually deliver. A 63-year-old retired nurse named Patricia went from barely making it through a grocery store trip to walking her neighborhood park trail twice daily after following a consistent circulation drink protocol for 2 months. She kept a simple daily journal of her leg temperature and walking ability. Watching those numbers improve week by week became the most motivating health project of her retirement. You came here today with cold feet, heavy legs, or that persistent tingling that nobody talks about at the dinner table. And now you know. This is not just aging. This is a fixable, addressable, scientifically understood process happening inside your blood vessels. Your body still has the machinery to produce nitric oxide. It still has the capacity to push fresh, oxygenated blood all the way down to your toes. It just needs the right raw materials to do the job. And 5 simple, accessible drinks can provide exactly those materials. Green tea begins rebuilding your vessel flexibility. Ginger, turmeric, golden milk fights the inflammation, quietly narrowing your arteries. Pomegranate juice floods your bloodstream with antioxidants that protect every drop of nitric oxide your body makes. The watermelon celery blend activates 2 separate nitric oxide production pathways at the same time. And beetroot juice, the most powerfully researched of them all, sends a direct, measurable surge of nitric oxide straight to your blood vessel walls. If this video opened your eyes today, type yes in the comments right now. That tells us this information reached you, and it helps us create more content just like this for our community. Please give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone over 60 who deserves to feel the warmth returning to their legs. Subscribe if you haven't yet, because this wellness family keeps growing, and the next video is going to be just as important as this one. Your legs have carried you this far. Now give them the support they have earned.